Have you ever wondered what it's really like to sail to other countries? To dive amazing locations and explore the world on a yacht? Then come with us. You're joining us tonight in the Tasman Sea, part of the Southern Pacific Ocean.
Well, it's midnight. Jamie's about to get up. Overall, it's been uneventful, but there's been this really unusual sort of rolliness to the swell, and for some reason, it's starting to make me feel really, I wouldn't go seasick, but I'd go morning sick. Just oomy. We've crossed a what I thought was going to be a relatively quiet shipping channel. It's really busy. So I have driven behind about 5 or 6 boats. So you can see the boats coming on the AIS, which is really good, with their speed and their direction and stuff. I find it really hard to gauge whether they're going to pass safely behind us or not. What I tend to do is I tend to change the course or slow down so that I go behind them, because I absolutely know where I am, and it's easier to gauge where they're going to be ahead of us rather than trying to be in front of them, and they're very fast and very quiet. So just coming out of that, and I don't remember a time where I've actually physically felt this sleepy. I have stood up and jiggled and danced and walked around and actually found myself falling asleep standing up. It's been really horrible. But that being said, the boat's really happy, and our speed's picked up. We've hit the EAC, the Eastern Australian Current. So we've gone from doing sort of 4.5, 5 knots to doing 6.2. So I'm really looking forward to Jamie coming up.
On a passage, Denise does 8 p.m. till midnight. I do midnight till 4 a.m. Denise takes over from 4 till 6. And finally, I do 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. During the day, we just share it based on who looks the most pathetic.
Well, it's just after midnight on our first night out. You never sleep well on the very first night of the passage. And Denise has just gone to bed. We're almost outside the shipping lane. We've still got 325 nautical miles to go. But the wind's dropped right off. I mean, we've only got about maybe 8 or 9 knots. So we're driving with one engine. And it's not too cold. Got the thermals on, jacket, all that sort of stuff, but it's not, well, I'd say it's early on because I'm still warm, but it's not at this stage freezing cold. So time to settle in, turn on my Audible book, and have my cup of coffee, I think.
To learn more about the dangers and tips of keeping watch on a night passage, check out our video, Sailing Passage to Townsville, Adventure 113.
The reason we do a lookout every 15 minutes is, standing at eye level, you can see about 3 nautical miles. Given the fact the ship is quite a bit higher than that, you might be able to see a ship about 10 nautical miles away, maybe. Now, if they're doing 20 knots and we're doing 5 knots towards them, we've got a closing distance of 25 knots. At 25 knots, it's only going to take about 24 minutes from the time that the dot on the horizon that you can't see is going to be on top of you. This is what a potential collision course looks like using the AIS. So we were actually going to get a lot closer to that ship. So what I've done is I've actually turned towards it, so it'll actually pass in front of us before we get close to a collision course. And those lights directly ahead of us, that's the ship. You can just make out a masthead light on the front and also on the back. With the AIS, really easy to see the ship. The time in which you have before you're potentially going to collide, and also what your distance at that point is going to be. You can see their speed, you can see their course. So in a few minutes time, once he's effectively passed in front of us, we'll no longer be on a collision course and I can resume my previous course heading towards Lord Howe Island. And the sea state's getting better and the moonlight is beautiful.
Well, it's my morning shift now, and it's really settled down nicely. Our speed is awesome. We're now doing like 6.77 knots, which is really unexpected. So thanks, Australian Current, doing a great job. And thankfully we've moved out of Queensland time into New South Wales time, so we've got daylight savings. And we had a full moon last night, which also makes the world of difference, although I didn't feel it between my 8 and midnight shift because I was so tired and quite nauseated. A couple of hours sleep, I don't feel nauseated at all anymore, which is good, and very rarely happens, but obviously something was up last night. And it's 4:30, the moon has set beautifully, the sun is coming up, the first light. Sea state is lovely. We've clicked over below 300 noms, so we're at 297. Not even listening to our book at the moment. It's just really pleasant being out here. Morning. Still feeling a bit oomy. Wonder if I'm fighting off some sort of bug. But anyway, good thing for oominess. Vegemite on toast. And we whack the spinnaker up. Morning, Jamie.
Morning! I'm coffee duty.
Very important.
Tell you where the blue sky goes in the winter. I can show you where it ain't so cold. Days turning into months. I feel
Beautiful conditions today. Was around 20-22 knots, but when you're running with it with the spinnaker, that's just fantastic. Now we're probably down to about 16 knots, still doing 6 knots very, very comfortably. So very happy with day 2. It's meant to be dropping off tonight to almost nothing, so I have to go engines on again, but we have been gobbling up the miles with the spinnaker today. Very pleased. Whoa, just a bit of preventative maintenance. Just going to check the oil, belt tension, etc. Make sure he's all good, because the engine's been behaving beautifully, so what's Hickman doing?
Overall, been a pretty uneventful day. Lots of nice winds from the northwest. We're travelling southeast, so that means spinnaker, spinnaker, spinnaker. It's been flying beautifully all day. We were doing about 8 knots before. It was a little bit windier. Predicted that the wind would drop off at about 4. It is 4. The wind is dropping off. We're now down to about 12 knots, but we're still managing to do about 5.7 knots. When that top starts to curl in like that, that's when it's sailing right on the edge of being the wrong wind angle. But we are trying to get to Lord Howe Island. This is the line we should be going towards, because Lord Howe is down here, and this is where we're going at the moment. You can see if I zoom out, there's Lord Howe. But because of the wind angle, we're having to do this. Given we think the wind's going to shift a bit to a southerly, we figured the more south we can go at the moment, better off we are.
This is fresh pizza on our second night at sea.
Out of our kiln.
Yeah, out of our oven that only does mega hot. Looks pretty good.
It's tasty too. Very easy passage meal.
Hi guys, thanks for watching. Please remember to give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe. And down below, give us some comments, especially what you think of our new intro. See you soon.
let's fly away.
is it under 100 nautical miles to go? 94. Excellent. Conditions are pretty lovely. We are having a motor still, very little wind. Just made us coffee each. And Denise has made me cockles, which are like a little cake type biscuit that's got jam and icing in the middle, and they're absolutely beautiful. And we should be here or there in not this time tomorrow, before that, probably before lunch tomorrow with a bit of luck. So
Breakfast, baby.
breakfast tomorrow. Excellent. So very short coffee. Here is mine. Cheers.
Well, it wouldn't be a passage without some running repairs, so we're just doing our daily preventative maintenance on both the engines because we've been using them at the moment. And while Jamie was doing an oil check, he discovered that one of the belts was looking like it's probably a little bit too thin. So he's just in there. We're going to change the alternator belt. No, salt water belt. And maybe the alternator belt because one has to come off to the other.
Get in the hole. Get in the hole.
How's it looking?
Yeah, good. Taking, I don't know, 15 minutes. Couldn't be too bad.
Our morning coffee on the final day of our passage to Lord Howe Island, and I've just gotten up for my second part 2 of my sleep, which is 6 till 8. I looked at my phone to see how fast we were going. We were doing 8 knots. Something must be wrong because we've been doing 2 engines overnight. Anyway, I've come up and sure enough we are doing 8 knots because the wind's picked up and it's pissing with rain. And given that we're only an hour away from Lord Howe, you'd think you'd be able to see the island, but tragically, no island. It's rained too much. It's a big difference from the last time which we were here, where it was beautiful and clear, and we saw the island, I reckon, 6 hours out. So, assuming there is an island there, we should be able to see it in the next 15 to 20 minutes, I would have thought. Even with the rain, it's a big island and it's quite high. So, we'll sit here and have our coffee. And wait it out, Jamie. Summer in Australia. Wet weather gear and dive boots to go outside. I don't want to get my own boots wet because I'm going to need them later because it's chilly. To pick up the mooring, as we are now quite close and we can see an island.
Good. Down.
Jamie's people clearly come from a colder place because he's out there in bathers and bare feet. Must be the Scottish in you, Jamie.
Hey?
Must be the Scottish in you.
How's that?
Bathers and bare feet.
It's a bit colder than I thought out here, I must say.
Lord Howe Island, Lord Howe Island, Lord Howe Island. This is sailing vessel Lukimyu, over.
Look at me, this is Marine Rescue Lord Howe Island. Can I get you to go to channel 73? Repeat, 73. Over.
Lukimyu going to channel 73, over. Lord Howe Island, this is Lukimyu, over.
Look at you or looking you, I'm not quite sure of your vessel name, but how can I help you? Over.
It's Lukimyu. We are coming into our mooring that we have a permit for, over.
Lukimyu, Pinnacle.
Good morning, Pinnacle, this is Lukimyu, over.
Good morning, Lukimyu, welcome back.
Thank you. Look, good to be back, although it's a little damp.
Out of our way by 12. If you guys can just head to and just wait in your current location, Lord Howe Island Port Ops is just heading down to the foreshore and they'll direct you into your mooring. Just FYI, the outside lateral marker is missing at the moment. Over.
Roger that. So are you saying there's a boat coming out? Over.
Negative. He'll direct you from the shore. He's just getting into a location where he can eyeball you, and then he'll direct you into your mooring. Over.
Roger that. We will wait to hear back from you on channel 12. Over.
Yeah, affirmative. Stay on 1-2, and then he'll probably get you to switch to 1-4. Over.
Roger that. Who am I speaking to? Over.
This is Aaron at Bird.
Hey Aaron, how are you? Over.
Yeah, very well, guys. Just loading the boat. I'll chat to you soon.
Roger that. Thank you. Over.
We'll follow the lead light into the North Passage, being careful to avoid the reef on the right before turning left to our anchorage off Dawson's Point.
Lead light's been missing for quite some time.
Copy that. 1-2 for standby. Over.
Definitely can go onto that mooring once they've left.
Even in overcast conditions, still a beautiful island. Unfortunately, one of our passengers didn't make the trip. Little flying fish.
Join us next week for World Heritage listed Lord Howe Island,
It's just as beautiful as we remember.
Yeah, this is Denise's kit. I'm Karen.
and we go for a splash. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with your friends.